welcome back to my kitchen. If any of you like you, I'm sure you're missing your takeaways by now, so I thought I would show you how to make a really easy pizza. So in my bowls I've got strong flour, semolina, salt, sugar, some warm water and a little bit of olive oil. So first thing in my bowl is going to be my strong flour. So strong flour's got more gluten in it, which is really important for when we're making bread, so it can rise properly and it has a nice texture. So I've got 400 grams of strong flour and 100 grams of semolina. And if you don't have any semolina, you would just replace it with another 100 grams of strong flour. I'm just going to put those together with my salt and my sugar. Give that a little mix. So once my salt's mixed in, then I can add my yeast, because I don't want the salt to touch my yeast because it would denature it and then we won't get any rise on our bread. So yeast goes in, give that a little mix again. And then in here I've got 300 mils of warm water, not too hot, because again if it's too hot it will make us dough really sloppy and it will kill our yeast. I'm just going to put a glug of olive oil in. I'm going to get a knife. So we just want to add a little bit at a time so we can start to bring it together into a dough. Because we can add more but we can't take it out once it's in. Keep adding water till we get a dough. So we've got yeast in here, and if we remember, yeast is a living organism, so it's one of the part of the fungus family. So we put the sugar in because it feeds the yeast, and when we feed the yeast, that's when it is going to produce carbon dioxide and alcohol and going to give our bread a really nice rise. A little bit more water. So we can see it's starting to come together, but we're not quite there. So I'm just going to add smaller amounts until we get one nice dough. So I might need a little bit more. So I'm going to get my hands in now that it's brought it together. So now I've got my hands in, I can feel that it's quite nice and sticky. So I'm just going to try and press all those extra little bits of flour in. But it's a little bit dry, so I'm just going to add a tiny bit more water. Just so we can get it all combined into one dough. Scrape all those bits off the side and off the bottom. We know we've got a really nice bread dough when it cleans the side of our bowl for us. That's looking pretty good. So now we've got one ball of dough. I'm going to start kneading it. So I've got a nice clean worktop. I'm going to take my dough out. We're going to knead. So when we're kneading, we're stretching the gluten. So we're going to stretch our dough and keep folding it and rolling it around. Just imagine it's someone that you really don't like. You want to really squash them. And we're going to do this for 10 minutes. So we've got a nice smooth dough. But I'm not going to make you sit and watch all that. So when I've finished, I'll come back to you. So I've been kneading for about 10 minutes now. You can see my dough is nice and soft. So I've stretched it, folded, squashed it and rolled for 10 minutes. It's a workout. So you can see it's nice and soft. So our gluten stretched and made a nice stretchy dough. And if I press it, it will bounce back. Okay, so I'm just going to roll it into a nice ball. And it's going to go back in our bowl. And it's going to prove. So we're allowing the yeast some time to ferment, to produce the alcohol and the CO2, and our dough should double in size. Just a bit of cling film on the top. And I'm going to leave that out in a warm place for about an hour. So it's a bit of a wait, about an hour, so it doubles in size, so it'll grow, okay? And that means that our yeast is working. So when it's done that, I'll show you how to make it into pizzas. See you soon. Okay, so you can see our dough's doubled in size, if not a little bit more. And if I just pull it back, can we zoom in? If you can see, it's sort of like a little cobweb underneath, and that's where the gluten's stretched and it's holding in all that CO2. You see? So we're just going to get our dough out. Oh, it's really nice and warm. I'm just going to scrape all the dough out of the bowl. As much as we can. We're just going to give it a little quick knead, just so we've got it back into one ball of dough. So we're not going to knead it too much because we don't want to knock all the air out of it. So I'm just going to cut this into two. Over there for now. Just get a rolling pin. So we want a little bit of flour. Just get those bits up. A little bit of flour down so that we're not sticking. And a bit on top as well. And then we just want to roll it as best we can into a circle. So keep lifting and turning, make sure it's not stuck to the worktop. Doesn't matter if it's not a perfect circle, it's homemade after all, but we can stretch it. It's a better shape. So how thin you roll it depends on how you like your pizza. We quite like a thin crust, so I'm going to roll it nice and thin. So, these are called pizza stones. Because if you don't have one of these, a baking tray will work fine as well. So, we just want to lift our pizza onto the baking tray or onto the pizza stone. You just want to shape it so it fits on a bit better. A little bit big. So just squash it down. You want to make sure if you're doing it on a baking tray that it's really hot, that it's been in the oven first, and you can get a nice crispy base on the bottom of your pizza. So I just want some tomato puree. And we'll just spread that out. Make sure you leave some space for your crust. Or you could do a barbecue base. Some barbecue sauce. Just spread that right out to the edges. There we go. So, cheese next. You can use any cheese you like. Grated mozzarella, cheddar, fresh mozzarella, whatever you fancy. So So I'm not going to put too much cheese on. Some fresh mozzarella. Just dot them around because they'll melt and spread out. So, what toppings would you like, Ben?
Onions, peppers, a little bit of ham and a bit of chorizo.
So whatever toppings you like, you can put on your pizza. If I was making this for my dad, well, I would have to put tuna and pineapple on it, which in my opinion should be illegal. Onions, peppers. Ham. And some chorizo. Got some dried herbs. Sprinkle and mixed herbs. So once you've got your toppings on, back into the oven. It wants to be nice and golden brown. This crust should be nice and crisp, and there's cheese all melted on the top. Okay, so there is one finished pizza. You can put any toppings on there you like. It's a really easy base and so versatile for what you want to put on the top. So I hope you enjoy that one, guys.